Escape from Tarkov's PVE upgrade is finally here, where everyone who plays Escape from Tarkov is able to actually purchase the PVE upgrade through the website, which will give you immediate access to actually play the PVE mode. And this is going to be massive for the game mode itself and what is going to happen over the next couple of weeks, which is what this video is all about. Now, if you do want to purchase it, it is €20 right now, which, in all fairness, I thought this was going to be just ridiculously expensive, like pretty much everything else in this game. But luckily it's come in with a semi-reasonable price of €20, even though you've purchased the game and then, you know, you've got to pay even more money to basically get the same game but playing against AI. You guys get the idea, but it is literally the PvE game mode for €20. So anyone who does decide to purchase this, I don't think it is a terrible price point considering everything else. But at the same time, of course, you may or may not have already paid a ridiculous amount on this game. So weigh it up. Do not feel like you have to buy this edition. But yeah, for me, I think it's a reasonable price for a big expansion, I guess, over the base game, even though it's just that you play against AI instead. Either way, it's there available for everyone, and that is going to make some big changes to how the game actually going to play. So let's hop over now to the actual game itself and talk about some of the things that new players are going to be doing, and how, if you are a new player, you can save yourself some money, or if you are a kind of player that's been playing PvE since the very beginning, an EOD or a kind of an unheard edition user, you should be able to, you know, get what you want from the market at the same time. So talking about the first thing, we have, of course, got our hideouts. So for me, I've fully upgraded the hideout. We have absolutely everything, including the military power filter ones that we needed. But for a lot of new players, they are going to be starting with absolutely nothing, which means that all of the hideout items are going to start rising in price as new players try and buy them up, because things like for example, tool sets, this sort of stuff is going to go up, and we may even see it. They were sitting around about 80k roughly when I last saw. I'm pretty sure we've probably got one, and so here you go, we've actually got one, and they are up at 100k right now. And the thing about this is that although tool sets are fairly common, because of the fact that there is going to be a lot more people demanding them when they start buying up this update, as I'm sure many people actually will, they will start going up probably to like 140k. So this is definitely going to be one of the things that you'll see on the flea market. So if you are an existing player and you've been playing for a while, just checking the prices of random items now is almost crucial. Things like, for example, tape, you can already see it's sitting nearly at 50k again. Now this was somewhat near what we saw when the game mode first came out. It was sitting around 70k, and these appear like they are starting to go up, with only a few now sitting around 30k. Beforehand, before this kind of release of the PvE, they were sitting anywhere from like 24 to 35, something like that, as like this sort of level. So the fact that it is now sitting around 50k for a lot of this sort of stuff looks like it is going to be something that people are going to be needing for their hideout, that sort of stuff. So all of these items are going to go up, and so keeping hold of them for a little bit until people have the ability to purchase off of the flea. That is when you're going to see the prices go up the most, because of course, you have to get to level 15 in order to actually purchase anything off the flea. And by that time, you've usually unlocked like the easiest kind of hideout items. So as you go through, then you're going to be upgrading to level 2s of pretty much everything, and then eventually level 3s. And because the hideout items are semi-rare for quite a few of them, they do, of course, require quite a lot of money and investment to actually do. So with that out of the way, of course, you've got things like, for example, all of the barters that people are going to be doing from traders. A lot of these are going to be super profitable if you're a new player and you didn't realize. So there is, of course, found in raid within the game, which is not actually needed to sell on the flea. So once you reach rank 15, you will then be able to sell on the flea, but not just things that you find in raid, but absolutely everything. So for example, if I wanted to purchase myself a money case to put my money in, I've got all of the items here. So if we just click deal, For example, normally, well, before the whole found and raid changes that were done on the game, normally I wouldn't be able to sell this, but now we can sell it, and we can actually sell it for 1.1 million. So what I can do is list this one up for, let's call it 1050, and then sell that. And if we were to have a look at the typical cost of buying the gold chains, about 30k each, so 150k, 2 rollers which are like 60k, so call that like 300k, and then the 2 skulls which are like 60k, so call it like 500k maximum. We just made 500k basically from selling that money case and using the barter trades on the traders. This can be done obviously dependent on what trader level you have, and the lower the trader level, the harder it's going to be for you to actually find different things that are worth a lot of money. But there are often quite a lot of stuff that you can use. You can see here toothpaste is currently not available, so you can buy up orthodontox and then sell it as a toothpaste if you really wanted to. You got labs keycards which you can actually sell on for 300k, so for me I can buy both of those, and then we could just go straight into our stash and then sell off these 2 for a decent amount of profit. So this is the sort of thing that you can do if you need money and you don't have the gear that you need to kind of progress your account at the beginning. And there's often quite a few items that you can kind of snipe with the flea market. So once you do get the flea, the biggest thing is getting that flea, but once you do get it, it becomes super easy to make a ton of money. And of course, if you are a new player and you're wondering what should be the first thing that I kind of go towards, well, it would be a lucky scav junk box, which you can put all of your kind of loose stuff that you'll be requiring and want to sell when you do get to level 15. So if you have enough money before you get to level 15, I'd highly recommend getting yourself a junk box, and then maybe even 2 of them, and then of course you get more as you go through some of the quest lines and that sort of stuff. So I'd highly recommend getting yourself quite a few junk boxes. At the moment I've got quite a few, but the problem for me now is just having way too much gear where we need like literally just so many thick items cases. It's actually crazy in order to keep all of the stuff, with most of our stuff for Kappa in here, and then just random raid stuff, and even more when it comes to ammo and that sort of stuff. But you can kind of get my drift. Essentially just going through the flea market stuff is a very, very good thing to do. There's also going to be some impact with regards to some of the servers, mainly the only server side game, which is of course the streets. So streets is probably going to be absolutely rammed, and the loading times is going to be quite high, I would assume right now, because of the fact that more and more people are going to be playing, and since this is the only server required server, then it is kind of going to be pretty hard to get into a raid on streets, I would assume. However, all of the other ones are hosted locally, so that should be almost instantaneous. I mean, for an example, the factory raid, you can get into a raid in about 15 seconds, at least for me, and that includes the load-in timer as well. So it's very, very good. Obviously, dependent on your PC, the worse PC you got, the longer it's going to take for you to load in, but, you know, that is what it is, but it's very, very quick. There's no real latency when you play the game itself. There are quite a lot of bugs, and for those of you that don't already know and you've just joined into the PvE, or maybe you haven't already seen the video, there is still the AI bug whereby you can essentially have 0 PMCs or 0 bosses on each of the maps. And that's one thing to kind of note, is that there is, of course, a very, very good thing for new players to take advantage of right now, which is the brand new quest line, which is your kind of arms race quest, because this is going to give you crazy amounts of XP. For example, 72,600 just for handing in 10 scav weapons that you find on factory that are the specific ones to the quest. They're pretty easy to obtain. You can get maybe 2, maybe 3 per raid, but of course you need a big backpack to be able to do that. But either way, you can find them. They're super easy to do, and the level, or the XP, doesn't scale with the level. So if you are a low level, now is a brilliant time to play, because you're going to be able to use this event to kind of boost through pretty much to level 10 almost instantly by just doing a couple of these tasks. And they're very easy, the first 2. With the third one being on the lighthouse map, where you have to go into the road camp. But there's an easy way of cheesing it, which hopefully I'll do a video on soon, that you can kind of use, and maybe you want to just go through it and be able to complete it super quickly. That is the case, and it's no risk as well because there's no PMCs, but either way, we'll look at that later on. So if you are enjoying PvE mode, or you've just started, make sure that you do subscribe down below if you aren't already. But I wanted to cover the fact that there is going to be some changes to the PvE mode. There is definitely going to be more players playing as it's opened up to everyone now, and hopefully it should be a good community in a kind of vibe going on right now where a lot of people are going to be able to play and play together. Another great feature is going on to the Escape from Tarkov Discord, if you do have Discord, and just jumping in to the PvE kind of chats that are on there if you want to get a bit of experience with someone who's maybe more experienced with the PvE. That can be a way of kind of interacting with the community, but also learning how the PvE AI work and stuff like that without having to bash your head against a brick wall as much. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like it, and I will see you later on for another video.